Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Top Considerations When Buying MFT Software, a buyer's guide on how to approach your search for a secure managed file transfer solution. I'm here with my co-hosts, Richard Forsyth and Heath Kath, who will be presenting today. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Hello. A quick couple comments before we begin. We are recording today's event and we will send you the link afterwards. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation using the question section on the right-hand side of your screen. We will have time to go through those at the end. And finally, a survey is going to pop up at the end of the presentation, and your participation in that will provide us some valuable feedback. And in addition, you can ask any questions that weren't answered during the event. So let me introduce you to our presenters today. Heath Kath is a senior solutions consultant here at HelpSystems, working with the Go Anywhere managed file transfer product line. Heath provides pre-sales support specializing in demos and proof of concepts. He is also a member of our professional services team and provides additional training and assistance to our MFT users. Richard Forsyth is a solutions engineer supporting the HelpSystems globalscape brand and is based in San Antonio, Texas. He has over 25 years of experience in IT and telecommunications. Richard supports HelpSystems international partners throughout the world in selling and engineering secure MFT systems for their clients. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I can go ahead and turn it over to you here now.
Excellent. Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking this time to join us this morning or this afternoon, depending where you're at. For the agenda, we're going to talk about HelpSystems, but then dive into, of course, why you're here, talking about the managed file transfer, what that is and different things to look for, understand the benefits, the considerations, when searching for that MFT solution. And of course, a little about a deeper dive, if you want to call it that, but into the evaluation and some really good points that Rich will point out during that time. And then as Angela mentioned too, we do have hopefully some time at the end for any questions you may have. So please feel free to post those during the session here and we should address them if they have not been already answered for you. But to start things off here, just a quick little joke to lighten the day up here. I'm kind of curious, why did the football team fumble the handoff? Just a little thought there, a little hint. It's kind of related to our topic. So actually following this one out there, I thought was pretty good. And yes, I'm a Minnesota Viking fan, and we have those days. But here we go. Well, they didn't use a secure transfer method. So yeah, I think everyone's laughing, Richard. I think I can hear them. All right. All right. So let's get started. With HelpSystems, become the leader. That's our goal. HelpSystems help companies like yours to build a better IT. We have a big push on tools that will help you, help our customers protect their investments around data, the infrastructure, and automation for multiple platforms like Windows, Linux, and IBM and so forth. A little history here. HelpSystems actually started back in 1982, over 35 years ago. We have now over 20,000 customers worldwide in almost every industry, with over 25 offices worldwide supporting over 1,200 employees. We see IT transformation as a journey, not as a destination. As we continue to drive forward, helping to build a better IT, and with that, HelpSystems focus really starts with two areas that we like to separate everything here, called security and automation. Breaking that down into 6 buckets, if you will. Within security, we have data security, identity access management, and infrastructure protection. Within automation, at a high level, we have the RPA, robotic process automation, workload automation, and infrastructure automation.
Heath, that's a good point that you're making. And today, our focus being with the MFT, the managed file transfers, and this, for the most part, will fall within that security bucket that you're talking about. However, some solutions also offer the automation as well as to help streamline, those file movements. So from our MFT evaluation guide, there's a line in there that says that, just like buying a vehicle, you need to consider the performance, all of the available options, the dependability, the service, and the true, long-term cost of ownership of that. So And that's even more true when you're evaluating managed file transfer solutions, because after all, it's not a car that you're going to park in your own garage. This is a decision that's going to impact many people, multiple departments within your organization, perhaps even the entire enterprise at times. So it's vital to assess your options very carefully when looking at the MFT solutions.
Great point. I love it. I like it a lot. I really do. Awesome. Thanks, Richard. So what is a managed file transfer? What is it? It's also known as MFT. Overall, enterprise MFT solutions, they focus around secure file transfer solutions that organizations use to exchange their data safely, both inbound and outbound, using protocols like secure FTP, HTTPS, AES2. These solutions, they really help organizations automate their data transfers. It could apply encryption, brings them centralization of their file transfers activity, ability to monitor the users and their file transfers and even statuses. It's the entire package, to help with the day-to-day file movements.
That's exactly it, Heath. There are organizations from your smaller shops to your larger Fortune 500 companies that need to transfer just a handful of documents up to several thousands or hundreds of thousands of files every day. And they could be pushing payments, invoices, policies, inventory files, and many types of reports and other files that are critical. Today, many of those are still using outdated, older, and less secure technology to move those files. Traditionally, the way to exchange this information has been using plain old FTP or SSH, and these are methods that are just not that secure. So if you're using something like those popular cloud services like Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, ShareFile, Salesforce, and so on, there are many different services out there, but all of them have little to no tracking and limited security and very limited control over that system. Or we see organizations that might have non-secure APIs that are opening up some security vulnerabilities within applications that they're sharing information back and forth with.
Richard, that's definitely something to think about. Thank you. Plus, we both, I'm sure we have, we both still come across users that still use standard email. It's quick, it's simple, right? To add to that list, I've even talked with customers that are saving information to an external disk or a portable drive and then manually delivering the content themselves. These are no longer viable protocols, as we need to tighten things up, especially around transmitting potential PII, PHI, PCI, or other sensitive information. And to add to this, those legacy tools, as you mentioned there, they need to be replaced. Another more tasking method I've also seen is around automated scripts. These scripts could be awesome. They could be very complex. They could do a lot. However, what we do find is that they're typically hard to maintain, almost impossible to keep up, to manage them, and some are very challenged just to use them, to understand what they can do. And this third bullet point here, this keyword managed, that can cover a lot of ground, from automation for files moving internally to the automated files being transferred across your network, your systems and trading partners. Plus, to have one solution, one tool that is centralized, allowing you to manage those file transfers that are moving, from server to server, person to person, or really anything between. It's that single point of administration is kind of key there. Your MFT solution should be scalable, to be able to handle the volume and the size of files that need to be transferred. And even if it's a few or a dozen to 1,000 a day, you need that tool, that solution that can handle it. I'm talking about small files to several gig to terabyte size. We need solutions there. And we have different things here to talk about a little bit later on around that area. And this last point, an MFT solution should be able to secure your files in motion, those in transit, and also at rest. Now, many organizations struggle to fully protect the data shared by their employees, customers, trading partners, and third-party vendors. Information can easily be sent to the wrong person, stored on the wrong server, or shared with a non-secured application. With these concerns, the IT teams, they're desperately looking for ways to minimize the risk that a company around their data exchange. And a few benefits here in this slide, a couple on this slide here. The first one's around security. Security is definitely top of the list, and this can be covered in multiple avenues. The admin users. Does the solution offer RBAC roles, allowing you to define what your admins can do and see? Then how about the end users? Defining the protocols they can use to connect to your server, what they can access, and their permissions. Maybe you need security type zones, domains that can be set up controlling what your admins have access to, like the different servers they can connect to, the different automated workflows, the different keys, and so forth. Detailed audit trails also is a must. A solution that is tracking those inbound and outbound file transfers, but also tracking what your admins and your end users and what they're doing and how they're accessing the server and the files they're sharing and so forth. Maybe you have certain encryption protocols that you must follow based on your requirements and maybe based on the compliances that you must meet. You should have an MFT solution that offers all the protections that you need for file in transit, but also provide that protection at rest, such as OpenPGP or AES 256-bit encryption and more. Some additional keys here to think about. The MFT solution works within the compliance frameworks, the regulations and standards to help you meet to make the best decisions for your data security. The MFT solution should be ready to help you in your quest for compliance and assist you in processing data in a secure manner. Whether you use the solution on premise or in the cloud, a SaaS solution, software as a service, you get to make the choice on how to manage, to monitor, and audit the controls surrounding your data and that file movement. As for achieving compliance, typically, this requires a holistic view and plan. The MFT solution should be able to secure your sensitive files and transmit data using the latest security standards to help keep your data secure and for you to comply with those regulations, those frameworks and standards that you have to follow. The MFT solution should address many controls in popular and widely used security frameworks, standards, regulations, including, and I'm going to say sorry for the acronyms, but PCI, HIPAA, SOX, GDPR, and so forth. And to throw a few more in the mix, California Consumer Privacy Act. Maybe you have Australia's CDR or Singapore's PDPA. There's a lot out there. And as a question to ask yourself, do you have specific requirements or risks you want or really must address? The MFT solution team should be able to collaborate with you to help you understand how they can assist you in compliance efforts so you can meet or exceed those. And then how about your costs? Expenses come in different ways, but a big expense can be eliminated when you don't need to write or manage custom scripts and programs. These programs can take days or weeks to build and can be very challenging to support and to keep updated with all the current changes and regulations. Also having numerous tools being used to move data around, maybe another solution to create the keys, to encrypt and so forth. These tools or multiple solutions, can exponentialize the issue and make it extremely difficult to manage, update, and of course, more costly. Oftentimes, free tools, deployed for a business case may not provide sufficient logging to help you analyze where an issue may lie, which could be very costly at the end when dealing with critical case, an issue, worse yet, data leakage, and so forth. My last page around benefits, MFT solution should help you simplify, manage, and automate your file transfers. The building of your file movements should be easy. Graphical interface, taking advantage of those skills that we're all familiar with, drag and drop, double click, and so forth to build that step-by-step workflow, but yet at the same time, make sure everything's all done correctly and securely. So you don't have to rely on writing a program or build those lengthy and overwhelming scripts just to move files from point A to point B. Another key benefit is the solution should be able to be installed on a platform that meets your needs, your requirements, a platform that you are more comfortable working on. Maybe it's more secure, more stable, and so forth. Is the MFT solution OS agnostic? Basically meaning, can it be installed on the platform of your choice? Can it be installed on a Windows, a Linux, an IBM, a Mac, and so forth? Can it be deployed maybe in your own cloud? Maybe that's AWS or Azure, or in a hybrid approach. Maybe you're looking for a solution that is SaaS-based, right? Software as a service, where the company can actually manage the hardware and software for you. So you have a lot of options there. Again, that's all kind of tied to your needs. And of course, the solution needs to be able to grow with you and your requirements and so forth. So what considerations are you or should you be really searching on? This first consideration, where should your MFT solution be installed? It's a big question, a very important question, right? What deployment is right for you? On-premise, where you're managing the application, the operating system, the servers, the network, and storage. Or in a public private cloud, maybe a hybrid mix, but where you're managing the application, the operating system, but the server, storage, and networking is managed by the cloud on AWS or Azure. Then you also have options where you might be better off having the MFT solution managed by somebody else completely, so software as a service, where you only have to manage the users and your data flow. The rest, again, is managed by the MFT solutions like the application, the operating system, the servers, the storage, and more. With the cloud popularity growing at a very fast rate, in 2021, again, we're not even completed here yet, there's a cloud security report done by cybersecurity insiders. It was already been found that there's a 71% of the organizations are pursuing a hybrid or a multi-cloud strategy. And only 27% of them is relying on a single cloud deployment. So again, it's a big push that way. Again, it's always based on what your requirements are, your needs.
Heath, a tip here is to ask a lot of questions. There are several options available, and finding the right environment for you is going to be based around your requirements, your unique needs. So in the cloud, is an MFT strategy the same as the full solution as it is on-prem, right? And are there migration considerations? Migrating my data to the cloud and my users and my configurations, accessing your data after it's in the cloud. How will you access the data from on-prem? What sort of flexibility and options are there around the cloud environments and regions? Is it region specific? Can it be deployed in a geographic region that's going to work best for me, and so on?
Excellent questions. I totally agree. There's a lot there to consider. So thanks again for Richard for that. As in your, these additional pre-search considerations, this section, the next few sections here, or slides here, it's all about the industry you're in. And it kind of really goes beyond that, because it's not just tied to that industry, but just kind of keep that in mind, because really your industry, you're going to have your own specific needs, right? When evaluating an MFT solution and making those decisions, what will make it easier, more secure for you to meet your requirements? So those are things that are going to be based around your industry and your requirements. MFT solutions are being used by many types and all sizes of industries. Will the MFT solution that you are looking at comply to your needs and to your industry requirements? And here are a few requirements to consider in following the industries, and definitely not limited to. Healthcare, you define the users from what they can see and what they can do within the MFT solutions, along with setting their permissions. The solutions should offer multiple authentication methods. They require the Active Directory, LDAP, IBMI, maybe your SAML, also multi-factor. Those are things, again, that they require. As for logistics, security data, SOX compliant, meeting regulations, audit trail, and more. Higher education, it's all about meeting their compliance from the VERPA there, PCI to HIPAA, encryption, detailed audit trail, and a solution that is centralized. For insurance, their need is around security and compliance, but they also need a solution that will simplify their file movements and to automate them as well. Then we have banking and finance. Protection is key. They have a lot of sensitive data. They have compliances, different compliances like PCI and GLBA that they must meet, and so much more. Manufacturing, their need is around security, of course, a secure way to share data internally between departments, but also to be able to share with their business partners. They need a solution that will protect their sensitive data, allowing them to define or set those permissions by the user or a group of users. And for the public sector, right away compliance. They need to follow FIPS 140-2, SOX, GLBA, PCI, HIPAA. They also require common criteria, basically a government level of security around their file movements. Retail, one of their biggest concern is around personal information. They need a solution that will keep personal data like social security numbers, account numbers, to credit card information safe. Your MFT solution should help companies keep this data safe, meeting those compliance regulations and so much more. And to add on, the MFT along with a DLP to have ways to scan the data for PI or PH information, before the data is sent out, to prevent that data loss prevention, or to scan files coming in for viruses. So again, you need that ability to do what you guys need there to do to keep your data safe and secure. On this slide here, the name of the game is defense. Why, you ask? Starting last year, 2020, and now still into this year, the last couple of years has become remarkable in so many different ways, and not necessarily all in the good ways, right? Because we've been fighting this all together with the COVID and all that. Well, along with that comes a surge in cyber attacks. The COVID-19 pandemic has given unprecedented opportunity to cyber attackers to hack and to break down the organizations, the IT infrastructure. The work from home working module adopted by such organization has been attributed to the rise of cyber attacks. The security gap between the home and office network has played a huge role to make way for the data breaches in 2020 and now into 2021. This issue has resulted in the theft of confidential information, leading to the loss of millions of dollars for breach organizations. So defense, that's the strategy you and your IT team needs to take against cybersecurity threats along with data breaches. Adding to your cybersecurity defense starts by taking proactive steps long before data breach or misuse of your sensitive data occurs. Selecting the right encryption method for securing data transfers can help shield against those incidents that can cause those havoc amongst your company there, affect your budget, your costs, reputation with your customers, and so forth. The auditing, the tracking of the file movements, the authentication, and auto IP blocking are just scratching the surface of those MFT questions you should be asking. IT teams are focused on implementing cybersecurity policies and practices, reviewing their third-party applications, the software, and the networks more and more than ever before. Make sure the MFT solution is also putting security first, and ask how they will work with you to protect the sensitive information that you have for those day-to-day transfers and so forth. And a quick side note, if you would like to learn more about encryption methods and how it works, the terminology and more, there actually is a recorded webinar that you can actually watch on demand. It was called How to Choose the Right Encryption Method for Securely Exchanging Files. It's available on their website, HelpSystems website. Again, you can watch it on demand, but I'll help you understand a little more about the terminology and different things to look for around encryption if you're interested. And my last point around considerations, make sure to ask questions. Richard already said this earlier too as well. Ask questions on the authentication options. Does it have what you need? Does it have maybe AD, the Active Directory, LDAP, SAML, MFA, the multi-factor? Again, for you, for your users, for the admins, the mix of different users that require that. How does the tool let you define what your end users can see? What permissions they have, like listing, uploading, downloading, to the protocols they can use to connect to your MFT server. Maybe they can only use HTTPS, where another user could actually use SecureFTP or HTTPS or AS2, right? Different things like that. So again, those are different questions you got to start kind of listing and asking, and all the different MFT solutions that you're looking at. When exploring your options, here are some features to look for. Again, think of those questions. Think of these as a question to follow up on. The first one here, as you can see, is auditing and reporting, right? Audit logs, they can help you monitor the activity in your environment, for all the movements of files, inbound, outbound. Reporting metrics provide statistical details, graphs, and charts of that activity. Cloud deployment gives you the flexibility to automate and secure file transfers in the cloud. No matter where those files reside, look for a resolution that scales with your organization and works with popular cloud computing platforms like Amazon Web Service and Microsoft Azure. Remote agents can automate file transfers and workflows on systems throughout your enterprise. They are managed by the central deployment of the product, allowing you to run processes and transfers across multiple locations securely. Automation is, as an MFT solution, they should have options around this. A solution with batch automation will allow you to determine when your file transfers perform. Look for an option that can execute multiple transfers concurrently, trigger when another process completes, and comes with a built-in scheduler, which eliminates the need for other tools or other softwares to launch your workflows. Having an integrated DLP, your data loss prevention, and MFT ensures you can detect, inspect, and secure those critical data, those files you're sending across through the email, web, and so forth. It minimizes, your risk of accidental data loss, data exfiltration, and cyber attacks, and reduces the impact on day-to-day operations. Enterprise level security will help you meet the stringent in-house policies and comply or the compliance requirements. Make sure the MFT solutions you evaluate comes with features that safeguard your data and restrict users to only the areas that you allow them to see within the product. Secure email or secure forms, a solution that offers a secure way to send email will help ensure the security of your messages and files, but turning them into an encrypted package. And these packages can then be downloaded through a protected HTTPS connection. Secure forms is a nice way to get information through a web-based questionnaire to be able to share content securely that way. A browser web-based interface allows you and your trading partners to perform those file transfers through HTTPS. This type of interface may give your team the best flexibility because it doesn't require a desktop client installation. Load balancing, clustering. The idea of load balancing allows you to process high volumes of file transfers by spreading the workload across multiple systems. The clustering, you can set up active-active, allows the automatic failover to another system if a server in a cluster goes down, so you continue to be up and running. Many traditional, by the way, EDI tools are complex and time-consuming to configure. A robust solution with EDI file translation should support those critical X12 and EDIFACT standards and combine the file transfers and EDI all into one. Easy to use solution for the reading, the writing, the mapping of X12 and XML files between the different databases. All right, well, it's time for me to take a little breather here. Richard will kind of cover a little more in-depth evaluation, helping you build that checklist on what to ask, those questions we've been talking about.
Oh, thank you, Heath. I appreciate that. Now, our in-depth evaluation, we're going to talk about some ways that you can create a requirements checklist here. So to begin the in-depth evaluation, we suggest that you create this checklist, and this list should also include your compliance requirements, the deployment options, and even your budget considerations. And once you've identified the features that you want in an MFT solution, and you have an idea of what your organization is going to need in terms of the deployment, it's helpful to create a checklist of requirements that you can easily refer to when evaluating the different MFT solutions. We've provided some sample questions here to help you get started with that. One of the basic things that we recommend when asking these questions is what operating systems are supported by your solution and what security standards, and like the PCI compliance, the SOC 2, and the FIPS 140-2 protocols are all important things to consider because these are going to help you meet your compliance standards. And ask what cloud deployment options are available. Is it Azure? Is it AWS, Google Cloud, or is it another service, and is it region specific? Does it help me to meet my compliance requirements is another great question. And on top of that, what are my compliance and security requirements? Are there specific protocols that I need to have in order, that are required by the compliance standards? And what type of file transfer scenarios does the solution provide for? We've talked a lot about automated file transfers and SFTP transfers, but does it support ad hoc file transfer? Is there a web-based interface for my human users? And so next slide, Heath. So additional questions for the checklist are, is the solution unlimited? Or what are its limitations around the number of users or trading partners that I can interact with? Is there a limitation on the number of files or file size? And like Heath has mentioned, what are the authentication and the user password options? Does it support all of the Active Directory and LDAP, and does it have an internal user database, and does it support two-factor authentication? What levels of support are available from the vendor is a critical question to ask. Take into consideration, do I need 24/7 support? Is the vendor in my time zone, and how's that going to work for me too if I ever need support? Additionally, can I generate audit reports? This is very important, especially when it comes to talking about compliance standards. Are there activity reports that can be generated? So, can I provide reports to my partners that show their file transfer activity? And can these, how are these reports generated? Can it be done automatically and sent to the partners for me? Also consider, does the solution offer automation and workflows in general? So, and do these automated tasks meet my unique needs? Does the vendor invest in their product? Do they provide frequent updates and enhancements to the product? This can be very important to customers as well. Also, can I install it myself and start using it myself? Or is this going to require professional services from the vendor to get this up and running? Does the vendor provide training? Can he train my administrators? Can they train my users? And what's available there? So to determine what compliance standards you will need to meet, and then do you handle payment card information? This is an important question. Then you probably need the PCI DSS compliance. Do you handle private healthcare information or privately identifiable information? HIPAA compliance, SOX, GDPR privacy standard, and the CCPA, the California Consumer Protection Act. These regulations and standards are continually growing and spreading. They're getting more and more. They're not going away. So these are all standards that need to be considered depending upon the content of your data. Also ask, is there a full audit log like Heath mentioned to us? Do I have the ability to trace the complete life cycle of the data transfers, where they came from, where they ended up, and when, and do I have the ability to prove these things through an audit trail? Does the solution include a robust set of authentication controls over who can access what data? Again, the security groups, file and folder level access, as well as it's also important to ask, does this integrate with DLP? Can I scan the data before it's sent to determine if this content should even be allowed to be sent, especially by my ad hoc users. Also, does it integrate with file acceleration technologies? If you send large files or files over long distances, over high latency networks, does the vendor support any type of file acceleration to help improve these large file transfers? And another important question to ask of the vendor is to request the vendor to provide information about integrations with those applications, with other applications, and to provide data sheets for the technical features of their product. So our next slide here, determining your budget. When it comes to determining your budget for secure managed transfer solutions, they come in all size and packages. They come from small to the enterprise size solutions that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when determining how much that you want to spend on an MFT solution, consider what is and what isn't included in that price. Questions to ask your vendor's sales team specifically include, can I license specific modules so I'm not paying for functionality that I don't need? Does it support clustering and load balancing? Do you provide non-production license for QA or dev environments? Are these sold at a discounted price compared to the production licenses? Is there a leasing or a subscription option to the software versus the perpetual license? And also, do you offer vendor-based licensing or user-based, CAL-based licensing, or is this an unlimited license? So you need to know the restrictions of those licenses as well. Beyond initial software licenses, most buyers also purchase a support package that includes annual maintenance. This allows you to upgrade to the latest product versions as soon as they're available, and also to receive timely support in this situation where there were to be a service issue. Also consider any optional investments that you would like to put into the product, such as professional services for the migration, data migrations and configurations, implementation assistance, and training. Or are there add-on modules that expand what you can do with the MFT solution, such as the ad hoc file transfers, secure email sending, and file acceleration for large file transfers? Our next slide is talking about the solution's ROI. So aside from its ability to secure and automate file transfer tasks, one of the most attractive aspects of implementing an MFT solution is the positive return on the investment. This ROI varies, of course, as the amount that you save depends on the vendor and the product. But when evaluating solutions, look to see if the vendor has an ROI tool or some type of resource that will calculate how much your organization stands to save after replacing those legacy products, those high maintenance manual file transfers, the scripts, those homegrown solutions and workflows, and really determine how much those things are costing you in man hours and in upkeep. Some items to look for here are the ability to respond quickly to new security requirements without creating additional work, to save time by eliminating those labor-intensive processes like scripting and programming and maintaining those things. A solution needs to be able to grow with the needs of an organization, to expand as its data requirements become more complex. To avoid unplanned and unnecessary system downtime by keeping those file transfers running definitely adds to your ROI. Downtime can be a big loss to companies that have SLAs with their partners that they need to meet. A solution has the ability to scale with multiple nodes running in high availability. It's systems and networks that get added to it, the environment over the time, and its ability to integrate with those. So with that, let's talk about our solutions here at HelpSystems. So my last slide here, before I hand it back over to Heath for a little bit, I would like to introduce the MFT solutions here at HelpSystems. We have globalscape and goanywhere. These solutions are very similar, pretty much identical, in that they both offer a high level of automating your file transfers securely. They do have differences. Each one has its strengths and things that it's better at and better for specific use cases. They both use industry standard protocols such as HTTPS, FTPS, SFTP, AS2, 3, and 4, built-in workflow automation that includes auditing, notifications, and integration with a wide variety of other systems within your enterprise and APIs. So ad hoc file transfers are including secure email sending, file and folder sharing, and web-based access for the human users to be able to access the service. They all support two-factor authentication via various different means, whether it be Radius or SMS text notification or SAML 2.0 integration with third-party authentication methods. So with that, Heath, can you tell us a little bit more about the different managed file transfer use cases and how our product fits into those?
Absolutely, Richard. I'd be happy to. Thank you. And yeah, these two solutions are enterprise level MFT solutions that can provide that security, the ease of use, the pushing, the pulling of files, accepting files from users. And as Richard mentioned, it's all about security and defining the permissions of what the users can do and see and all that. So it all kind of ties together. You will be able to transfer files, from server to server, person to person, and really anything in between. Between the two solutions, you will be able to install and manage the solutions on the server of your choice. If it's on-prem, you can spin up your own VM. Maybe it's a Windows, a Linux, a Mac, an IBM, or let us host it for you. Let HelpSystems manage the hardware and software in a SaaS solution where we will manage the hardware and software for you to help you, with that availability and the ease of use in that sense, right? We're going to take the time for you. And I think I might have skipped over here too. And you can also install your own cloud, AWS, Azure, hybrid environments. Have some pieces on-prem. It's up to you guys. It's a lot of flexibility between these products. So give us a call. We can talk about it. Dive into your needs, your requirements there to find out really what meets your use case. What type of requirements do you have? Plus, if you have a need for stronger collaboration, read and write data in different formats, the integrations with your applications, or to reach out to the ICAP server to scan files for DLP, the data loss prevention, or scan those files coming in for viruses. Plus, the capability to manage, to read and write to EDI X12 files. There are mapping options that are available to help you with that if that's a requirement or a need for you today or down the road. These solutions with all these different use cases provide a lot of options, a lot of opportunity for you today and to grow with. All right, Richard, I know we got a little bit of time here, so we got some time for questions here. But before we dive into the questions, I'm going to hand things back to Angela for a quick second here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Heath. And great job. This was very, very well done. Great information. Hopefully this helps people in their buying journey. For those who would like to reach out for additional information, our websites are there on the screen, in addition to a couple areas where you could go to see a recorded demo or request your own demo of our products there. In addition, you can feel free to reach out to us on our websites. There's some contact information there as well. A quick reminder for some housekeeping items that this is being recorded, and we will be sending that out to you for you to either rewatch or share with anybody else that's in the buying journey with you as well. So with that, Heath, I heard you say we have a handful of questions here.
Yeah, just kind of look out there. Yeah, just a few questions here. If you want to stick around from the great. If not, again, you can always reach out to us, like Angela mentioned there too. I do see a question from John. You know, really more on the automation. What does the automation, what does it really bring with your MFT solutions? You know, we have a couple of solutions here between myself and Richard here. You know, just these solutions can automate your jobs, your workflows in a lot of different ways. So again, you want that opportunity. Now, the solution has a built-in scheduler. You can even define like a holiday calendar, so you can define rules around that to decide if that job should be skipped if it's a holiday, run the next or previous business day, and things like that. But of course, daily, weekly, monthly, etc. But there's also options around monitoring, where go anywhere, uh, globalscape, we can monitor, we can watch these folders for files that reside in that folder, and based on events, pick up those files all at one time. If it's one, a dozen, or 100, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be all automatic. We can grab those files, pass them into that workflow of which you define what to do with them. And maybe it is simply just to grab them and move them. But you could grab them, move them, rename them, encrypt them, send them to one location, archive them to another, send out confirmation emails. It's all done automatic. So again, the automation is key there again, John. So thank you for that.
Heath, I see a question here about the file. How does the file acceleration work? So within the HelpSystems family, we do have another product called File Catalyst that integrates very tightly with, as an add-on to the managed file transfer solutions, that allows us to then use some advanced protocols to send large files over high latency networks over long distances at a much faster than over a normal SFTP transfer, all the time still keeping these transfers totally secure and encrypted, and fully managed and integrated to the automated processes within the either MFT product that we have.
Nice, excellent. I see down here from Stacy, asking questions around, do we offer any training, Richard, or any professional services that can help them out? And
sure. Oh, sorry, I was just going to take that one. Sure, but yeah, as you say, we do offer expert help from our product specialist. We've got product training, project consultation, integration and configuration assistance. We can help you with upgrades, converting from one system to another, and migration systems. If you have an on-prem system today that you're going to move into the cloud, we can help you with those. That can be done online, or we can come to you, typically anyways. And another tip that I didn't get the time to show is that our built-in help within the software. We didn't show that stuff today, but there is a lot of online documentation for GlobalScape and built-in documentation to the products. So those are very important resources to have as well.
Excellent. That's a good point. And yeah, we both know about that because, right, the key to these solutions to be successful for you is understanding what they can do, their capability. And to be honest, the best place to start is by getting the right training to learn from it. These training sessions, by the way, you may have mentioned it too, but they're recorded. You can schedule the time with our professional service reps. Those sessions are recorded. You'll get sent the copy of the recording, so you can also watch it later on and share it with your team there. Great point there. All right, I think I'm just gonna wrap things up there. We got a couple other questions here. We'll kind of follow up with those offline. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Angela, anything else there you wanna wrap it up with?
I think you got it covered. Thanks so much, Richard and Heath. Really appreciate your time today.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great day.